I want to show you what I'm looking at, and then I'm going to fix it. Maybe I can point to it with this here screwdriver. If you look down in there to where I was working at, I put the light right about here so that maybe you can see it. Let me get the angle right. Hang on a second. Yeah, okay. You kind of have to look down between those wires and things, but if you look back there, if you can see where I'm pointing, you see that bolt right there? At the tip of this screwdriver is touching. That's a bolt that goes into the back of the engine. That goes through the bell housing and connects the engine to the bell housing, and it's loose. It's so loose that it's like ready to fall out. Let's try a different angle on the camera. I don't know if you can see it better. I don't think you can see it better from up there. Always a challenge to get a camera to a place where you can see. But let's just take my word for it. The engine bolt on the back of the engine back there is completely loose. And as I'm looking at it, I don't know if you can see this down here, but this is the engine where it attaches to the flywheel, and it's loose. It's loose enough where I can get my screwdriver end of it. Now, I've been having some clutch noises lately. Well, actually, all winter long. I'd be driving along and just start making a heck of a racket. Sounded a lot like 63 Impala's old truck did when his clutch springs broke off. But my clutch there, I finally got my camera where you guys can see that. But my clutch, well, my clutch just keeps working fine, but it makes a heck of a racket. One day I put it on the lift and cranked it, and I thought, good grief, it sounds like it's coming apart. Well, being loose, having the motor being loose from transmission, that could cause some weird noises. So I think before I do anything else, I'm going to go around and tighten all the bolts from where this transmission goes to that engine. Oh, just see what kind of difference that makes. So I'm not even going to start it until I do that, because when I do start it, it's just going to make it motor hot and harder to work with. Well, I love my homemade tools. It's hard to get to that bolt back there, and I just was remembering I got somewhere a wrench that I bent just for that purpose. There it is right there. I love homemade tools. Well, it's getting even more interesting as I'm tightening this bolt. I reach down here where this other bolt should be. There should be a bolt. Should be a bolt on the other side of where my finger's pointing, right here. Guess what? No bolt. Not there. Interesting. Well, I like this about this Jeep is that I got this where it's set up where you can take this panel off and reach up underneath the floor to get to the back of that engine. That's just lovely. I think all cars ought to be made like that. So, the good thing about this is I can put my hand up in here and I can feel that nut that I'm turning. But more importantly, I can feel the one on the top of the engine and the one on the other side of the engine, which is located in such a way that it's very hard to get to. Now, a lot of these I can probably get to from under the car, but those three on top, not so much. So I can get a socket wrench with a flexible joint on the end and slip it up in there and tighten those three nuts from on top, and then lift the thing up on the lift and do the nuts on the bottom. That'll work beautifully, so that's a very good thing. Happy about that. Yes, I am. Okay then. It took me a lot of interesting tools to be able to get up in there, but I got the bolts tightened up now. So I pulled the battery out, so I'm going to put it back in, and we'll fire this baby up and see if my oil pressure gauge is leaking, and if not, we'll poke it in the dash. Oh, I'll go ahead and retighten the bolts on the valve cover while I'm in here too. Okay, bolts are tightened up, the oil pressure line is hooked up. I'm going to crank the engine and just look at it and see if it leaks. Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. Oil pressure over 40 pounds. See, that other gauge was registered my oil pressure at like 5 pounds. I knew that engine sounded too good for that to be accurate, so I feel good about that. That's what you want to see. When you put one in, you want to see good oil pressure, especially on a cold crank. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. So, I guess just for a test, I get in and mash my clutch in. I used to get this funny little noise. Sounded a lot like something was grinding in there, so let's put the clutch in and see if we get that noise. Oh, it sounds good. Okay. So I got to put all this floor back in place and get my gauge mounted. By the way, there wasn't any leaks out there. I was looking at my hookup out here on the other side of the firewall and didn't see any leaks. Looking good. Oh, lovely. Just lovely. Okay then. Okay, I got the oil pressure gauge in the dash here. And let's see, I wired it to my light switch. Where's my light switch? There it is. I think there's a light in there. Can you see a light? Yeah. Off. On. I think there's a light in there. Hard to tell in daylight. Okay.